Jackson. We're here today for our final. Wait, we just lost somebody. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trow for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Vince Nowak for Monica Gibson, Judge, and I am prepared with a motion for a 6-month extension. Monica is here as well. And Monica, is Alicia Castillo going to join us, or is someone else going to be there? You're muted, honey. You're muted. Unmute.
I apologize. She is right there in the room with me.
Okay, excellent. I just didn't see her. Judge, so we also have Alicia Castillo with us from Midwest Recovery Center. Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
And if I may, the name that you saw drop off that the other girl was trying to pronounce, that's my birth mother, Sheila Gaines. She just wanted to watch, if it's okay. So if that pops back up, that's who that was.
All right. Anybody have an objection to me allowing her back in the proceeding, or she can certainly watch on YouTube, but
she's not interacting anyway. She just wants to watch.
No objection.
I have no objection, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
Your Honor, I'm Janice Alexander Cross. I'm here on behalf of Cody Pirtle. Cody's out of the country, and he represents the father in this case, and I'm ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Noah, here and ready.
all right. Thank you. Let's take up Mr. Nowak's request for an extension. Mr. Nowak, since that's your motion, I'm going to allow you to proceed on it. Do you need to call a witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Would call Alicia Castillo.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge, and may it please the court. Ms. Castillo, where do you work?
I work at the Midwest Recovery Centers, Ohio Center also. It's the same thing, just two different names.
Gotcha. And we're in Texas, and y'all are in Ohio. So tell the judge a little bit about what the Midwest Recovery Center is.
So the Midwest Recovery Center is, it's a couple different step programs. So they come in for detox, then they move to residential, and then we have housing for 90 days. And then they would have to pay rent for after the 90 days, but they're housed for 90 days for PHP, which is a 7-day kind of program. They have to attend groups 7 days a week. They're required for urine drops 3 times a week. Monica is enrolled in PHP Women's Group, which is 3 hours a day, plus day treatment also for mental health. And that's 3 hours also a day. So she's in groups about 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then 3 hours Saturday and Sunday. She drops 3 times a week. All of her urine screens have been compliant since she's been enrolled in the program. She's compliant in all of her groups, arrives on time. She's very active, things like that.
Ms. Castillo, when you say her drug tests have been compliant, does that mean that her drug tests have been negative?
Yes.
Okay. And how long has Monica been enrolled in your program?
She's been enrolled since, give me 1 second, I had it on my screen. Her admission date was 3/29/2023.
And since that date, has she been compliant with your program?
Yes, she has.
What's the next step for Monica in your program?
Well, she'll be in PHP for the next 60 to 65 days, and then she will step down to IOP, which IOP is 5 days a week groups. So she'll have her weekends a little more free.
I apologize. What is Monica?
Go to outside meetings also, like AA meetings.
Okay. What is Monica's living situation? Is she living in what we sometimes refer to as a sober living community?
Yes.
Tell the court a little bit about the sober living community that Monica is currently living in.
It is called Kish Housing. It's like our sister kind of housing that we deal with for Midwest. And she is like she's on restrictions for the first 30 days, and she cannot leave property unless it's sober support.
Is there anything else you'd like the court to know about your program?
That it's a good program. A lot of people have success with it, and I feel like Monica will be one that will be successful. She's very engaged in our sessions, therapy sessions, groups. She shares and everything. So, and I know that she was telling me that for housing, they have to do like AA groups, and her and another woman in the housing are starting their own group for like a sober group that they meet with the other girls in the house and cook and things like that. So she's being active.
And I know it's close to impossible to predict, but I'm guessing you've done this for a while. What do you think Monica's chances of continued sobriety are?
I think that she has a very good chance to continue sobriety if she's going to stay on the same path and mindset she is right now.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Judges, that's all the testimony I have, Judge. I think Monica would testify in accord with Ms. Castillo. I think that I've met the burden of an extraordinary circumstance in that Monica is currently enrolled in successfully completing a drug and alcohol rehabilitation program. And I asked for 6 months. That's all. Thank you.
Ms. Castillo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Your Honor, I think, Ms. Castillo, Ms. Gibson almost completely completed Senacor, had moved to Serenity and left Serenity. She's now put herself back into another facility where she, I think, has a little more support where she is now. We really don't have a problem with her staying in rehab right now and extending to see if she can get and stay clean at this point.
All right, a couple quick questions. Her mother lives there in Ohio, correct?
Monica, does your mom live in Ohio?
Yes, my birth mother, Sheila Gaines, she lives in Bryan, Ohio, which is an hour away from where Midwest Rehab is. Midwest Rehab is located in Toledo, Ohio. That's where I'm at. She's a great support for me. My uncles that are here on my mom's side of the family and my sisters, they're great supports for me. And I am working on building more sober supports and getting more established with myself, with furthering my path of recovery, with establishing a home group with these meetings, and just doing the very best I can to get the most I can out of this whole recovery process. I love my son more than life. I value my son and I value myself so much. And I know that I've made mistakes in the past, and I'm fully accountable for those mistakes that I've made. But I also know that I've made great progress with healing myself, with starting that process and getting myself where I need to be emotionally, mentally, and physically. And I just want the courts to be able to see that I am extremely passionate about my sobriety, and I'm extremely passionate about my child, and being able to eventually down the line, whenever it's time, have you guys be able to look at me with confidence and say, yep, you are where you need to be and you can be back with your child. I want you guys to be able to see that I love me and I love life, and I very much love my child, and want to be able to have you guys look at me and say, yep, you're a mom deserving of your son.
Ms. Gibson, and let me just ask a couple other questions. The department. So the child is placed with relative, right? With maternal grandmother?
No, she's not maternal. She's my stepmother.
Okay.
They adopted me. My adopted me when I was 3 or 5. So she's on the birth certificate as maternal, but right. She is both stepmother. But my son is with my stepmother and my birth father, Warwick.
I understand, but legally she is your mother, but I understand the distinction between that legal mother and an adoptive mother and your birth mother. So, but from a legal standpoint, child is currently placed with maternal grandmother.
And I view her as my mother as much as I view my birth mother as my mother, but I understand the legal distinction.
Yeah. Okay, so the child is in that area. You've got other family in that area. Is it your intent to stay in that area?
My intent here, and I will elaborate a little bit. My full intent is to be, I plan on staying in Ohio, where I'm at. Bryan, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, both places are 2 hours from Battle Creek, Michigan, which is where my son is at my father's home. So it is not an issue to be able, if and when it's granted, to have physical visitations. It's not an issue to be able to make physical visitations happen. It is not an issue to move to Michigan if necessary when I have my son back, or to bring my son down here to Ohio. I have lots of resources in the communities around me in Bryan area and Toledo area to, continue the sober living and be able to continue the IOP, which is intensive outpatient program, after PHP, partial hospitalization program, is completed here. I've discussed with my case manager, and she's still here. She's still sitting, listening to this whole conversation, Alicia. I've discussed with her that once the PHP portion is complete, the partial hospitalization program where I'm in housing right now, I would like to transfer the IOP to Recovery Services of Northwest Ohio, located in Bryan, where I was last year. I understand I did not fully complete that program last year, but it was a very good program for me. And I had a really good success while I was there. And the only reason why I would like to, once the PHP portion is completed here, continue it there. And Alicia has said that she's agreeable to that. That's totally possible to transfer and continue my process, is because I have family there. I have sober supports there. And I don't know anybody in Toledo besides this Midwest rehab. So it would make sense for me that if I'm going to establish myself more where my family is, whenever I get my own place, that I would be closer to Bryan. But she said that it is 100% completely, totally fine to transfer me at that point in time when we get there. And she's more than willing to help me make sure I get set up into a sober living place from here. So I'm not going to be going to a person's home. I'm not going to be going to stay with family. I'll be going from sober living to sober living till I get my own place. And so I just want you to know I'm very, very passionate about this whole process. I'm very dedicated to this whole process, and there is no wavering with how I feel about my sobriety and how I feel about myself with this new positive outlook that I've had, and the genuine passion and love I have for my child, and the need to be reunited with my child and show my child that I love him and I want to raise him and I want to be the mom that I know he deserves.
Okay. All right. Let me ask, then Ms. Cross, any witnesses you need to call today?
No, ma'am.
And my understanding is we've had no contact with Mr. Gown. Is that correct?
Your Honor, I think we've not only had no contact, I think we've never located him. Mr. Pirtle's office told me that they have diligently attempted to find him using online resources, and they've been unable to locate him.
All right. And Mr. Trout, that's true as far as Department of St. Francis is
Yes, ma'am. That's my understanding. I'll say her.
Okay. And Ms. Zavala, any witnesses to call, or you have a position about the request for extension?
I have no witnesses. I am not opposed to the extension. I do know that Monica, at the beginning of this case, when she was at the original rehab, had completed a substantial amount. She never was able to complete the whole program, but she had been participating. That had been verified. I had been able to observe a good, long, lengthy visit with her and Noah that went incredibly well. I was very disappointed when she kind of fell off the radar screen, and I really am hoping that she can pull it together. Noah is with family and he's doing very well. I got to hear about fishing and egg hunts and squirrel spotting. So he's safe and well, and I don't think the extension would harm him in any way.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I didn't say, but I don't oppose the extension. This woman is only recent to have been enrolled in this drug rehab program. I think giving her 6 months to see what kind of progress she makes is in the child's best interest.
All right, then, Ms. Gibson, I am going to find that there are extraordinary circumstances which would warrant granting the extension in this case. That is a 6-month extension.
Mm-hmm.
What I am going to do is I'm going to set this for, and we're going to we'll hold a little bit more of a review hearing in a minute, but the next hearing I'm going to set in this is going to be for June 27th. I'm going to set a final hearing date of August 15th of 2023. Now, the dismissal date, the new dismissal date isn't going to be, we've calculated it at October 13th of 2020. So the final hearing I'm setting in August because, I want to see that we're making really good progress. And if, we'll get an update on everything in June, how everything's going. And then in August, we'll be set to go to trial. If everything's going really well and we need some more time, then we have until October. And I can always push that hearing back, okay? But that is, what I'm looking for is significant progress in not only with your treatment, but with just overall stability. Where are you situated as far as housing, employment, your transportation, your ability to provide everything that needs to be provided for a child. So,
absolutely. I fully understand.
So hang on. So you've got, you've got some pretty tough deadlines ahead of you. 6 months may sound like a lot of time, but it's really not. And so, I'm glad you're in the program you're in, and I wish you the very best. I really do. And I hope that this really, really, will be a good fit for you and that you will stick with it.
If I may,
you're running out of time.
I understand. If I may, I don't know if I need to ask this from you or the new social worker, Kimbra, but as my case manager stated, and she's still sitting right here, she can hear and see this whole conversation. I've had clean urines from the beginning. If we need to do a hair follicle to verify further, I'm more than willing to do that. But I would like to see if there's a possibility that we could implement some visitations. I would very much like to be able to start visitations with my child.
Okay, we're going to cover a lot of that stuff here. We're going to kind of hold a little review hearing. So we're going to be talking about all that here in just a minute.
Okay, I apologize. Sorry.
It's all right. I just wanted you to understand.
Yes, I do.
Why those dates are set when they are set, and that, at the end of that 6 months, we are out of time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then. Let's go ahead and just review. We may not have much ground to cover other than the visitation issue, but let me just find out if we've got anything new since the court report was filed.
And Mr. Dyer, Luke Dyer, will be testifying to that, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dyer.
Yes, ma'am. Nothing new to add other than what we heard from Ms. Gibson this morning, except to say that Noah is doing well in his placement. He is thriving. We do need updated information on a dental visit for him. We're a little bit overdue, and St. Francis needs to aid placement in getting his birth certificate so that we can follow through and get him enrolled in kindergarten in the fall.
Okay, you all are actively talking with placement about all these things?
Yes, ma'am. That case was recently reassigned last Thursday, and I have every confidence the new worker and supervisor are followed through. They've already reached out to placement as of this morning.
Okay, very good. Okay, and what is St. Francis' position about trying to establish some visitation between mom and the child? I hear from Ms. Zavala that it goes very well, so.
We would love to extend visitation. Our last attempt was in December. It's long overdue, and if Monica is sober and able to attend, and it's safe for our kiddos, we would love to make that happen. Okay.
So I don't know what her proximity is to the child right now. Do we have any idea?
If we can't facilitate in person, we would be able to work with placement and Ms. Gibson's facility to arrange virtual visitation in the interim.
Okay, and is there maybe some possibility that placement would be willing to bring the child to mom at that facility? Do we know?
We would need to follow up, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Gibson, what they're going to do is they're going to talk to, I understand, not your birth mom, but to your mom, and see what, what's feasible. If she's willing to bring the child to where you are. I don't know how far apart you are. Are you hours apart? Are you 30 minutes? Are you?
If I may, Bryan, Ohio itself, which is an hour from Toledo, is only 2 hours from Battle Creek. It's probably about the same distance from Battle Creek to Toledo, about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And my mother, my birth mother, Sheila, the one that was trying to join the meeting, we've talked about this. She has stated that she is more than happy and willing to, if need be, transport me to Michigan for physical visitations. I'm going to be able to start looking for a job after you're here 15 days in housing. I'm allowed to be able to seek employment and do employment while I'm proceeding with this program. And I'm fully happy and willing and motivated to do that. I want to take part in everything that I can as much as I can. And so if I can obtain a job, I will be more than happy to provide gas for my birth mother to just make sure I get to Michigan. If I have to come all the way to Battle Creek itself and meet somewhere in Battle Creek to make it easier on my mom and my dad, that is fine. If they're willing to part way, that's fine too. Whatever needs to happen.
All right. So let me clarify. All right. I thought the child was also in Ohio.
He is in Battle Creek, Michigan. Okay. That is.
Okay.
1175. But that is still feasible for me to have my birth mother to come up. She said it's more than fine, never going to be an issue. All I got to do is just let her know the date and time, and we will get there. Gas won't be an issue. Driving there won't be an issue. She's more willing to drive me, drop me off, come back when needed to pick me up. Whatever is going to make this an easier process for them is more than fine to have it done.
Okay, so what it sounds like, Mr. Dyers, we just need to have a powwow with placement, with mom's case manager at her facility, probably birth mom to be involved. She's not going to be transporting the child, so it's not like we need all the background checks and all that on her. But I don't know what mom's program, what they may want as far as anybody transporting mom. I don't know what the rules are there. So I'll just need to have you're going to need to just have a conference or something and get everybody that needs to be in the loop there.
I can give a little bit of information on that if you'd like. with me just being able to go have time with family. After 15 days, I'm allowed 3-hour visits. I'm allowed 3 hours outside of housing when I'm not in group, and that is with a sober support. Anybody that's been here for 30 days, anybody that is family, that is a sober support, anyone of that nature, they don't do background checks or anything. As long as there's somebody that's family or a friend that is a sober person, sober support, I'm allowed to be signed out with that person and leave for 3-hour passes. And they make special circumstances for purposes of visitations, like what we are discussing. After 30 days have elapsed, I'm allowed to leave after my groups and things are completed and be gone until midnight during the week, 1 a.m. on the weekend after I'm there for 30 days. So it is there's a lot of flexibility for the visitation thing to go fairly smoothly without too much of an issue. So like I said, I'll be happy to openly communicate as much as possible, and whatever they need, whatever my mom and my dad need, I'm fine with. If they say, we're not going to come to Ohio, you come to us, I will come up there every time if necessary. If they're willing to come partway down here, come to Ohio, that's fine too.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to let you guys, probably Mr. Dyer in the current permanency specialist, you know, they're going to probably set up a meeting where everybody can have input and really figure out the fine detail of this. So
I just want everybody to know how flexible and very easygoing I am about, you know, make this happen, and Midwest as well.
Okay. All right. So that'll be the next priority, is let's get some contact started with mom as soon as that can happen. And then Mr. Dyer, are you aware of anything else that's St. Francis has any question about or issue with today?
No, Judge. Well, we do want to follow up with Ms. Gibson to receive her release information so that we can have an open dialogue with her facility. It sounds like that has already been arranged. We need it in our hands. So.
Yes, I have your email. I don't have your fax, but I do have Kimbra's email. I don't have her fax, but I can get both of those. And I have a release of information papers with your information and her information filled out. I should not sign off on them and turn them in yet until I officially have the fax number information for both of you as well. So that's complete information. And you guys will have full-blown access to any and everything you can have access to here. And while I'm addressing you very briefly, if it is possible, until physical visitations are figured out, I would like to at least get a virtual visitation set up if possible. Fine. I'd love to have that.
No, that's fine. And they can get that probably set up pretty quickly.
Okay. And thank you very much for just taking the time to hear me out and listen to everything. And it just means more than I can express. Truly, it does.
And Judge, may I ask a couple of things real quick?
Sure, and then I need to hear from Ms. Vala too.
Yes, Mr. Dyer, there's still some services other than just getting clean and rehab that Ms. Gibson needs to complete. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, Your Honor, we're just asking that Ms. Gibson understand there still is her service plan that we need to have completed. So they'll have to work with St. Francis to figure out how to get those services completed while she's doing this program also.
Absolutely. And if I may request to have a copy of that service plan sent to me yet again, I would greatly appreciate it. That way, if there have been any changes, it's as up to date as possible so that I know that I'm taking care of everything that absolutely needs to be taken care of without anything being missed. I would greatly appreciate that.
Sure. Well, either your attorney can send it to you or St. Francis can send it to you, but I'm not aware that there's been any changes in it. I think it's still just the original service plan, but
yes, ma'am.
It would be good for your case manager to have a copy of that to know. I suspect an awful lot of the things in there you can get done in your current program. So I mean, generally speaking, that can happen especially in a longer term program. So, but we'll get it. Okay, Ms. Zavala or Mr. Trout, did you have anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor. I just wanted to clarify on that there were still some other things that need to be taken care of also.
No, I appreciate it. Okay, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, Noah is doing very well. I've gotten to Zoom with him and see him and interact with him. I have no doubt that everybody can work together as a team to figure out the visitation issues. I may be totally misremembering my cases, so please forgive me if I'm wrong. I had thought maybe there was a slight concern about biomom, but I may be wrong on that. But all of that can be worked out in terms of how we facilitate those visits. But I just wanted to let Monica know that we've got to get all those working parts together and make sure everybody who's involved in that, you know, with Noah is okay and good, and that can be done at this later meeting that we're going to arrange. I've got no objection to Zoom visits, and I really have no objection to in-person visits. But I just would like to tell Monica, Noah loves you very much, and this is hard on him to start and to stop and to start and to stop. And so it's very important that you be as stable as possible before we start, you know, really bringing you back in. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out the logistics for these in-person visits. And I think we can make that happen. But I think your main focus needs to be exactly on where you are to make sure you're stable so that he doesn't have to kind of lose that contact again, because that is very difficult on him. But I think we can get there, and we will work out all of the logistics. We don't have to go through, you know, any concerns with your mom at this point. We will go through that in that meeting. We will figure out how to make those visits happen. So I'm okay with all of that. The video visits, the in-person visits, we just have to get the logistics figured out.
Okay.
And thank you very much, Stacy. I mean, I know you've seen me and Noah interact. We have a very strong bond, and I know I can't make up for the time that has been missed, but I can surely make the most out of the time I get in the future and just prove to you guys over time that I really am a much stronger, much more motivated, much different individual than what was presented back in January in the last hearing that I was not present for. And this is completely different for me this time. I'm dedicated to myself. I'm dedicated to my son. I'm dedicated to this better life that I know is ahead. And, you know, whatever it takes to make that happen, I will have done. And like I said, I do want to go to another sober living place in Bryan, Ohio, once my PHP is done here, but my case manager is fully agreeable with that. And it's the same program as the program here. It's just a change of being in Bryan, Ohio, instead of Toledo. That's the only difference. And I have stable housing here. I will have stable housing on a sober living place there. And hopefully with time, I'll be in my place of my own after getting employment. And I'm fully dedicated to all that, and that is not changing. I know those are just words right now, but those are very passionate words that I mean with my whole heart.
Well, just show us you can back them up. That's the main thing.
And I will thank you so much for being willing to give me another chance. It means a lot. It means more than I could express to you, but I'm so thankful for your grace and allowing me this extra chance to be able to prove myself.
All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck. And so for today, I'm going to, as stated earlier, grant the extension. We'll set a new dismissal date, October 13th of 2023. We'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue placement. And just real quickly, with respect, Ms. Gibson, to the hair test, the department has no ability to pay, I don't think, for any kind of drug testing out of state. And so we will rely on the testing that you're going to do while you're there in that facility. I mean, I'm satisfied with that. You're getting tested quite regularly. So for now, that's all fine. So we'll just stick with what we've got.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Okay, then I will see everybody back for our next review hearing, June 27th of 2023. And then again, reminder, the final August 15th of 2023. Unless we need some more time. Okay. I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for gearing up for trial today. And Ms. Cross, thank you for stepping in. I appreciate you being here. If you'll just let Mr. Pearl know those dates, that'd be great. Well, I guess his paralegal's on with us, so she's heard all that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Judge.
All right,
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Janice.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
I'm
much.
happy to help.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.